In 1841, philosopher and writer Ralph Waldo Emerson published a work called Self-Reliance. In this essay, he professed many ideas such as the value of the individual, the need to follow one's own instincts and ideas, and the importance of avoiding conformity. And there are a lot of quotes that are pulled out of this essay, but one of the most famous is, "It's not the destination, it's the journey." It's a very poignant, very straightforward statement regarding the importance of the experiences that one gains in any sort of a journey, be it reading a book, watching a movie, cooking a meal, playing sports, going to work, or just living life. On February 23rd, 2025, a tweet was made by successful Australian businessman Davie Fogarty in which he said, "Reading books is now a waste of time. AI reasoning models can distill key insights and tell you exactly how to implement them based on everything they know about you." This may be one of the most shallow takes I have seen regarding AI ever. Davie Fogarty is a very successful businessman who owns something called the Rd and was a guest judge or something on Shark Tank, I think. I don't know. I don't care enough to look it up.
My name's Davie, and this is my story, how I went from $500 to $500 million.
Now, sticking with books as an example for the moment, if you rely on an AI to break down a book and spoon feed you the important elements, you're leading a very simplistic life. Because for an AI to be able to predict you well enough to actually find what components it thinks you need, not only are you giving up your own agency for the AI to do thinking for you, but you're probably really predictable. And on top of that, if you rely on an AI to break down a book for you, you're doing it wrong. Think about it broadly. The human experience is to learn and grow. If you have an AI distill the information down for you and then spoon feed it to you, you're not learning whatever that lesson was. You can't grow as an example of the experience you've gained, which would in turn make the AI more valuable because you would be that easy to predict. And that goes with any experience, be it reading a book, watching a movie, learning a dance, playing a sport, just talking with people. You need to be able to get into the thick of it in order to come out stronger, better, more experienced, more whatever. And then, of course, as so many people online do, he doubled down. Half-truths go viral because half the crowd agrees and the other half get outraged.
I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve.
I think it's more apt to say that a lot of people were just dogpiling on him because it's a very stupid take. Also, what's the half-truth of this supposed to be? He said something that was provably wrong and sounded really dumb. Naturally, as is par for the course with the internet, he got roasted for this really shallow take, and I will be adding my own thoughts to all of this, but we're going to do something a little different. You see, I don't need to delve into philosophy or technology or ideology or anything in order to take this down. I don't even need the internet. Instead, we're going to take a hike. Okay, we are here in the Bull Run Occoquan Trail. I grew up in a house about half a mile up the road from here, and I used to come down here like every couple of weekends just to run through the woods and explore and climb trees and collect rocks, all sorts of fun stuff. And I thought this would be the perfect place to demonstrate why trying to use AI to cut out the middleman and all the meat out of reading is such a terrible idea. Now, I do wish that we could have done this in the spring, but Mr. Fogarty unfortunately decided to not take beautiful scenery into consideration when he made a stupid point, so his timing sucks. But this place is still awesome. So, the benefit of reading a story isn't just getting from A to B so you can understand what the ending was. It's being able to grow along with the characters, see what they experience, see how they overcome their problems, go through all sorts of different arcs and themes and things that you can play with. If you cut out all of the meat from a story and you have everything truncated down into a little PowerPoint presentation, these bite-sized bits, then a good betrayal arc has no impact. A romance arc means nothing to you. All of a sudden, you'd be watching Star Wars and you'd get the line, "No, I am your father," and it means nothing to you. But let's say that he was going for something else. He didn't actually mean reading as in novels. Maybe he meant like self-help guides and things like that. Things that you don't really have a story arc in order to understand or deepen the meaning of everything. Well, he's still wrong. You see, what he's talking about means slimming everything down to give the least amount of impact on the reader, which is a baffling decision, really. How many self-help books have some sort of an example or an anecdote to help anchor the reader and give them a better sense of foundation for what the book is talking about? If you rely on AI in order to give you the bullet points of everything, they're going to trim those sections out because it's probably going to see it as unnecessary. But by trimming it out, it's going to effectively dehumanize the entire book. And so yes, you'll get the information bite-sized and faster and more efficiently, but it's not going to stay with you as well. You're not going to get the nitty-gritty, smaller details that you really need in order to have the whole thing hook onto you. Besides, sometimes it's not even about the anecdotes to help you understand or ground yourself in whatever the book is talking about. Sometimes you actually do need to know the step-by-step process of whatever it's breaking down. Say you're reading a self-help book on psychology, and you need to have a better understanding for why you may have gotten to this point in your life. Simply cutting out all of the meat from that is going to minimize a lot of the context that you could benefit from. Oh, hang on. We're going to stop down here. Okay, so you can't see it right now because the water's too high, but there's something of a very muddy beach right here. When the water dries up, you can step out a little bit and it is nothing but sticky mud. And I don't know precisely where it is, but somewhere in here is a sandal that I lost when I was 8. I went walking out here sometime in the spring or summer with sandals. I know, I was brilliant. And just started playing in the mud. My foot goes about 2 feet into it, and I cannot get it and my sandal out at the same time. So at one point, I have to just abandon it. And as far as I'm aware, it's still somewhere out there. But of course, it's not just books that you can apply this with. Do you think that he uses AI to break down a painting? Do you think it has an AI just describe what the Mona Lisa is as opposed to looking up a picture of it? Would it have the same impact at that point? Of course not. What about music? Do you think he uses AI to help reduce what music is supposed to be about without actually listening to any of the lyrics or the melodies? Probably not, because that would be a complete waste of time and you would have no immersion in the experience. Now, even though he was talking about using AI to help break down reading, you can still apply the same logic with AI interfering with art in general, a problem that we've had since its inception. You cannot use AI as a substitute for art because art is something that you need to experience yourself. It's why artists are so up in arms about generative AI, which is an entirely separate discussion to be had away from this topic. But the key thing is it's not a substitute. You cannot just watch a movie set in Paris and then claim that you've gone to Paris yourself. The two experiences are completely different and cannot really be compared. All right, so this actual river is the Occoquan Run, and it is a tributary to the Potomac River, so it feeds into it like several miles downriver. My buddy Kevin and I wanted to go exploring on it one day, so we actually walked a trail, a road on the other side. That goes about a mile downriver. And we jumped into the river, swam across. There was this nice part where the river forks. There's a little stream that it feeds into. And we climbed a hill at the fork. We were going to meet Kevin's father, who was going to pick us up in a boat. And we were just going to get rowed down back home that way. The problem with it, though, is we thought it was just a regular grassy hill. Turns out that it was covered in poison ivy that we didn't see. And it was summer, so of course we're walking around without our shirts on. So that was the summer. I got poison ivy all over my back. The dumb things you learn as a kid. See, now this is why you've got to go out and actually experience nature for yourself instead of relying on somebody or something else to go and experience it for you. These roots look like a staircase. How awesome is this? As I try not to stumble up them. And this is why I chose this particular set of woods in order to record this video. This spot right up here. This set of rocks is actually my favorite place in the world. It's really just a set of boulders with this stream coming through in a classic bubbling brook sort of a way. Not really a waterfall, but we used to call it the waterfall. My brother and I would come out here, just hang out, sometimes have picnics with our dad. There's actually a really old photo that he has of the two of us sitting on his desk, where it's just my brother and myself sitting on these rocks. But to get here at this final spot, as great as this is, we had to pass by all of these other nostalgic spots that I experienced as a kid with all of these ridiculous stories. And I could have jumped right here. I could have edited this video so that you saw just this end result and you wouldn't have gotten the dumb stories that I did when I was a kid. And so even though this is just a video rebuffing a stupid tweet, you can see it's not the destination, it's the journey. The experience is that much more fun if you can engage with people on a deeper, more meaningful level. Just having the raw details and locations and whatnot isn't enough. You can have an AI break down what the character arcs mean, what the themes of a story are, how they defeat the bad guy in the end. But unless you actually experience that with the characters, the story isn't going to have that kind of an emotional impact. And at that point, why even get a summary at all? It's like reading a book via a Wikipedia article. Yeah, you understand what happened, but you don't understand the emotional core of what happened. That's the value of reading a story, and that's the point that rich guy Mick Australian face can't seem to appreciate. I actually forgot his name. Fogy something? I don't. Whatever. One thing I used to do is I used to try to clear dead twigs from trees like this. So you don't want to, whoop. There we go.